Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I am going to be talking for the next hour about art and entrepreneurship and adapting to this new normal that we find ourselves in right now. I am Erika Doyle. I'm the Studio 300 artist in residence at Fountaindale Library, and thanks for tuning in. So, I wanted to start out with going over a little bit about who I am and sort of my journey as an artist. I am the lead designer for Evol Chicago, which is actually owned by my husband. We've been working together for the last 5 years now. And basically, we're a clothing and accessories company located in Chicago, but also with different branches in Salt Lake and Colorado as well. We are an artist collective, and I had a team of designers that work on anything from hoodie design and tapestries to small pins that we send and vend at music festivals throughout Chicago, but throughout the United States as well. We also have an online shop that I'll be sort of walking you through and showing you our website. And then basically, let's see, I've been doing this now for 5 years, as I mentioned. And before that, I actually was working as a production artist for a company in Chicago called Remedy. They specialize more in the healthcare and hospital divisions. So a lot of the design work that I assisted in and helped with was mostly geared towards wellness. And actually, you know, I went to school and I learned how to use Illustrator and Photoshop, but a lot of my experience came from on the job training. I worked with an amazing team of designers there. And then later on, I met Misha and my husband, who owns Evol. And I started drawing again. I'd sort of left it behind, and I was kind of burnt out after working at the design firm. So I took a little break from that. And then I ended up, picking up a pencil, start drawing again, started painting. And one thing led to another. And before you knew it, I was working with them to grow Evol in Chicago. And basically, we started vending music festivals and traveling to different events throughout the U.S. After a few years, we were at some of the biggest festivals in Chicago: Spring Awakening, North Coast Music Festival, as well as heading up, all kinds of events and things like that. So my work sort of shifted from sort of this like behind the scenes kind of person to more of a lead, and I had to take on sort of a creative director role where I was assisting and really, collaborating with some amazing artists that we've had. And it was a real pleasure to kind of get to collaborate and create, these different tapestries as well as pins and clothing, and sort of bring all our ideas together. So that's a little bit of what I do. I just wanted to walk you through the Evol Collective website. So this is our homepage right here. This was one of the newer designs that I came up with, Evol Worldwide, but I will talk to you guys about that in a little bit. So let's go through. I want to show you some of these face masks. Now with COVID hitting, this was actually a really popular product that we released. Again, these are not anything that's medical grade. We don't, we're not trying to sell these to doctors and nurses or anything like that. These are just sort of comfortable, washable, and stylish face mask bandanas that we have been designing for years, but we sort of re-released them to our audience right around March, when things started getting a little bit serious in the United States with COVID. So we actually also donate $1 from every purchase gets donated to Feeding America. These are just sort of longer pullover style that goes over the face and can kind of just be used as like sort of a little stylish expression. We found that a lot of our customers, our Evol fam, as we like to call them, they didn't really want to be wearing these other face masks that are just kind of boring. They wanted something that was a little more vibrant, the colors, and had some of our popular designs that we're known for. So that was definitely a popular product that we've released recently. And then I wanted to show you guys some of our apparel that we're known for and that we have designed recently. These are the Evol We Love House Music joggers. So it has our popular design sort of split across the calves. And we just dropped these last week, actually. So brand new, and people are loving them. They're like a premium fleece quality. So definitely something to check out. And then this is the Evol Collective Worldwide long sleeve that we just did with a full reflective metallic ink. The idea being that Evol can sort of spread across physical boundaries, and the idea that we can our tagline is the evolution of love. So really sort of spreading across the globe. Also, wanting our desire to want to explore and continue to travel. I mean, it's really hard right now, obviously, with COVID, but, something that's always been really important to us is just, embracing other cultures and continuing to spread to different places and around the globe. Let me show you this other design that we're known for is this Bleeding Heart Chicago tee. So I did this probably 3 years ago, but it's an anatomical heart design that has the CTA map from Chicago, this transit train map, as veins sort of in the design. So that's been, a really popular design. We had it as a pin as well, but it was one of those things that I sketched out late one night, and then all of a sudden, we created it as a pin, and then we put it on a shirt, and people just really it resonated with them. And I think because they could look on the map and say like, oh, I live right here, or oh, my friend lives right here. It was just something that really spoke to our customers, and I'm really proud of that one. I love that one. And then one other thing I wanted to show you guys was the pins that we do. So these are some of the limited edition original art, all done by our artist collective. They glow in the dark as well, and some of them are UV reactive. So this is actually a design I'll be showing you in a little bit about how I created this, but it's the Psychedelic Space Traveler. And, it's got sort of this astronaut space traveler in the middle with a lotus flower above, and then these sort of interesting faces that are coming from the side of him. And it's definitely one of those pieces that makes you think, and you kind of you wonder where is it going, where has it been. It's a little bit about time freezing, and I'll talk more about that later, but that's just an example of one of the pins we create. That's a 3-inch pin with an epoxy. It's like a clear coating on top to kind of keep those colors nice and vibrant. And then our accessories, these are, some hats that we've designed, as well as beanies, and then fans. Fans have been really popular lately, especially with the warmer weather starting to come. We'll probably be releasing more of those. And our first design ever, this We Love House Music, Misha actually had this designed before I even met him. So that was all him. And he, had a friend from college actually that helped him to draw that original design. So shout out Abby Lou Art. Actually, she's one of our designers as well. So yeah, it's just, it's interesting to see how something that was designed 5 years ago, it still really resonates with our clientele and with new people that come across our brand. Sort of as that piece of Chicago pride as being the birthplace of house music. And I think that, whenever we come across people and we see that flag, everyone's like automatically bonded. You're like, Chicago, Chicago. And you just find each other at a festival, or you run into each other at a street fair or something like that. And it just automatically, creates that bond. So we love to see that. And then just lastly, one of the newer products we've released recently are the tapestries. We did a different size that's more narrow and longer. Again, these are sort of wall hangings that, especially now with COVID, people are spending so much time at the house, right? And we wanted something that they could use in their living room or in their bedroom and sort of brighten up their day, brighten up their space, and something they could identify with. So we dropped these, I think at the beginning of April, and they were really popular. So, it's kind of a little bit about what I'm going to talk about later about adapting to this new normal, and sort of thinking about, as a business, what do we have to do in order to adapt? Because, there are no festivals. They're not festivals going to be happening at all this year, probably. So although we tend to, that was our go-to, was vending at music festivals, we now have to sort of shift our focus to more online sales and targeting possibly and creating different products for our clientele. And that's all, that's part of what we're going to be talking about later today. So I wanted to talk about my design process with you guys, sort of start to finish, give you an idea of what a typical project looks like for me for Evol Chicago. So generally, I'll start out with brainstorming. This can be individually, sort of researching ideas, coming up with a mood board of different images, looking for inspiration, if you will. And then we'll kind of brainstorm as a team, throw out ideas, me and my husband, as well as the other artists. We'll sort of start brainstorming, and then we move into pencil sketches. So these are just rough ideas, getting your thoughts down on paper and coming up with some rough sketches that we can use as a jumping off point and start to get a more visual idea down. Third, we'll move into drawing in Illustrator. So I generally take my pencil sketch, and then what I'll do is I'll create it at like a 20% opacity in Illustrator, and I'll use that as my guide as I start drawing my vector illustrations in Illustrator. Then my fourth step is leading into production. So a lot of times we will be creating, for instance, for pins, we'll create multiple color variants. So we'll have to decide what has glitter, what has specific epoxy coatings or different color, and that's all production stuff, right? That's things that I work with Misha, who is our production manager and handles all the production details and does an awesome job, by the way. And so we'll go through and we'll look at final proofs together from our manufacturer, and we'll sort of finalize the projects there. And then once we get our product in hand, we will take photos and start marketing and start sales. That's where we will be usually vending in person at an event or at a music festival. However, due to recent COVID situation, unfortunately, all our music festivals are canceled. So we are shifting to online sales and marketing. So that has been a big shift in our business model, which I'll talk about later on. But that's pretty much just giving you guys from beginning to end. That's my design process. So our first step in the design process is to brainstorm, right? I'm usually searching for images or color palette ideas or inspiration that just helps me sort of reflect on this concept or idea that I've come up with, but in a visual way, right? So I'll create what's called a mood board, and it sort of gives you the mood of the piece, right? That's why it's called that. And so if you take a look at some of these images that I've put together here, this was what I started with as just, sort of goals or ideas that were visual that I really liked. So this piece that I am going to walk you through creating was, it's called the Space Traveler, Psychedelic Space Traveler. And he's an astronaut, right, who's in space. And as you can see sort of here with this, his feet are sort of dangling. He's hanging around in space. He's floating through time and space. Those were all sort of ideas that I wanted to make sure I could convey with my illustration. And then also this sort of color palette that's very dark and I'd say almost like a midnight color scheme, where you've got these dark blues and dark purples, but also some pops of orange, red. That was something I really liked because I thought it fit well with the theme. So that is a little bit about the Brainstorm mood board that I use. So the next step, step 3, is drawing in Illustrator. That involves me taking my rough sketch, my pencil sketch, and using it as a guide in Illustrator, and then using the pen tool and freehand drawing with the pencil tool as well. I use a Wacom drawing tablet. That's the brand, Wacom. And I really like it. I've been using it for a few years now, but it's a way for me to freehand draw a little bit easier than what we used to have to do in Illustrator, which is use the pen tool and make a bunch of clicks and things like that. I can use a drawing tablet, which is a lot easier for me and a little bit less time intensive. So take a look at this video, sit back, relax. I just wanted to show you a little time lapse of me drawing in Illustrator. So, our next step is doing production and really fine tuning our design with our manufacturer. So, this is an example of a proof that we would receive from our manufacturer. And it would have, for instance, the Pantone colors that I've picked out. Usually, there's about, I'd say, 7 to 8 colors with their Pantone numbers, as well as indicating what color line work the pin's going to be. So example here would be black line work. And then we'll also indicate the glow, what areas of the pin we would like to be glowing. So in this case, it says that the white will be glowing, which we've have found is the best because it creates a brighter glow. And then also you'll notice there's an X where there's a cutout. So there's an X over here, and then in between the beams of light to create empty space here. And that is all on purpose as a way to create depth and sort of show the material that's behind the pin. I almost never do a pin that doesn't have a cutout, although you can find them out there, but my pins generally are designed with some sort of cutouts that just creates a little bit of depth, and I really enjoy doing that. And then also you'll create what's called a back stamp. So right here it'll have the name, which is Psychedelic Traveler, as well as our logos, Evol Chicago and Erikas. And then I'll do like a design on the back that is simplified, but also can add some, visual interest to the back of the pin. And in this case, all of the white on the back actually glows. So people are really excited about that when they turn their pin over, and let's say it's in the dark at a festival and they're purchasing it and all of a sudden it's glowing, right? It's kind of a cool feature that we're known for, spicing up the back of our pins as well. And that's just a little bit about what a production proof looks like. After we finalize the proof, Misha and I will review it and send approvals or send revisions if something needs to be changed to our manufacturer. And then we get our pins usually shipped within 2 to 3 weeks after this.
So here's a look at the Space Traveler pin. These are the 3 different variants that I came up with, and basically, as you guys saw in the time lapse, this piece was really about sort of this psychedelic feeling that I wanted people to connect with, especially with outer space and the aliens. You've got the alien spaceships at the top, with the lotus, sort of lotus eye, as like, a way to reach that deeper connection, deeper meaning. And then you've got the astronaut in the center here with a time, sort of keeping time in the middle there. And, to me, it's all about sort of this duality that we experience in our life, with the 2 faces on each side, and just how sometimes, we feel like we're being pulled in 2 different directions, and sort of finding that balance in our life. And then as well, I wanted something that was a little bit, this was sort of the midnight variant we had, and I wanted something a little bit brighter, and that's why we decided to go with this copper variant. As you can see, it really shines nicely, and then I have sort of this orange, yellow, pink color palette. Now everything you see white here glows in the dark as well. So, and then this was just a different one, a different take on it, different spin with the colors, mixing sort of the original variant with some of the copper on that final one.
So the final step in our design process is sales, really. We get our products delivered, and then we are shipping them out to our different branches in Colorado as well as Salt Lake City. And we set up vendor booths at different music festivals and events throughout the country. So we have an amazing sales team that goes to these different events and festivals. They set up a vendor booth, usually a 20 by 10 booth. This is a photo here of a popular summer festival that happens where we set up our tapestries, usually along the back, to showcase our art. And then we have, as you can see in the front here, a table with our different pins and fans and accessories that that our customers can sort of browse as they walk into our tent. We've really strived to create sort of a welcoming atmosphere where our existing customers as well as brand new people that come across our brand can enter, talk about art and music and create sort of that welcoming atmosphere.
Hey everyone, my name is Misha. I'm Erika's husband. I'm also the owner and CEO of Evol Collective, also known as Evol Chicago. We have 3 branches in Colorado and Salt Lake City, but this is our headquarters here. I want to show you a little bit of our space. This is where we keep a lot of our inventory. This is where we do some of our printing, and this is also our distribution center for shipping online, since we're doing a lot of that right now due to COVID-19. So let me take you a little bit. So over here, we have majority of our pin selection. We labeled all of the pins depending on the variants and everything like that. This is also where we keep a lot of our shipping stuff that's getting ready to go out. Obviously, it's always a struggle to keep everything organized and clean, especially when doing inventory. So we try to do our best when keeping things organized, especially when you're shipping out, distributing, or just wholesaling to other companies. So as we continue over here, you're gonna have all of our shirts, hats, scarves, pashminas. Everything is labeled as best as we can. We got jerseys that we just got in. We have some awesome pieces that no one has seen yet. These are designed by Erika Doyle. These are the octopus leggings that we will be releasing going into the summer for girls who are doing yoga, hanging out at home. But that's majority of all of that. So something I wanted to talk to you guys about was sourcing blanks. What this means is that every single time I go to print, I need to find the shirts that I want to use, or the hoodies, or the zip-ups, or the long sleeves, hats, anything that I want to use. I need to source it from another company since we do not make it in-house. This means that I find companies that I like the blanks. For this one, I sourced it from an awesome company from California called Lane 7 Apparel. I don't usually share this secret with a lot of people, so this is a little bit of an insight, but I love this company, and I'm going to show you guys how we print our zip-up hoodies that we're releasing for this spring. We are releasing a black We Love House Music zip-up, which is super cool. It's got a fleece interior on it. It's a little bit of a heavier weight, but it also does a really good job staying nice and cool because you could unzip it, and just one of our favorites. So we're going to start off by showing you what we need and then the process of how we're going to go about creating a garment if a customer had ordered one. Okay, so first what we need is an X-Acto knife. These, we have some extras, so we'll grab one of these. Then inside of here is where I keep all of our plastic salt heat transfers. And as you could see, we have multiple designs on one sheet. This is called a ganglion sheet. It's an extra large sheet, so we're able to put multiple designs onto each garment. And what's awesome about it is that if we want to do different locations, we are able to do so by cutting out where it says Evol Chicago. This star is an independent one, and then this design is one full one, which is really, really cool and cost effective. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our X-Acto knife, clear your workstation area, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut along the lines in order to cut out each location of print. So nice and easy. It's really simple to cut something out like this as long as you're following the correct lines of when you designed it initially. These are all AI files that we created. Erika helped me out with this, especially with putting everything onto a AI document, so we were able to submit it to the printer and have them done correctly. And as you can see, some of these spaces are very, very tight, so you need to make sure that when you are creating your document that you are leaving enough space as a cut line for yourself. So right here is technically all for one garment, which is really, really cool, and it's nice and simple. Then the second one, you could pretty much go ahead and cut this out. I almost did the wrong one. See? So this is a separate one. Then Evol Chicago is a separate one. I go ahead and cut that out. It doesn't matter how you cut it, because essentially this transfer paper, it gets peeled off. So whatever is comfortable for you when cutting, sometimes you want to leave a little bit of paper so it's easier to pull it off. Picked out my garment. It's going to be a large zip-up black hoodie. What we're going to do is we're going to print 3 locations. The first one is going to be chest front right. The next one is going to be center back. And then the last one is going to be on the hood. And you'll see that one. It's very unique, but it's a really cool spot to print. One of my favorites. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the front chest first. What we're going to do is unzip our hoodie. I'm going to bring it over here. And what we do, just remember this, we heated the heat press up to 350 degrees because that's what the vinyl transfer calls for. We are going to be heat pressing it for 12 seconds. And remember, you always have to warm up your garment that you're using. So what I'm going to start is lining it up as even as possible. Run your hand over it. Make sure that there is no other piece of fabric underneath it because it will show crease lines when you're heat pressing it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put it down and we're going to let it warm up the garment. Sometimes with garments, depending on who you use, you might get a little bit of discoloration, but that discoloration will be only because the dye is either fading or just because there's heat applied to it. It will usually go away with a wash in the washer or anything like that. It's very natural and it's very not noticeable. So don't be scared if you see it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this little Chicago house icon, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up as best as you can. Usually what I do is I point it up to the light so I could see where one of the points is. Some people like to use a marker on the other side and line it up as best as they can. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up like this. This is gonna be nice and easy. This one's a little harder. And then you're going to put it down for the next 12 seconds. Just make sure that you are applying it properly because then it might burn your plastisol transfers. Okay. There you go. It's ready. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab it from a corner while it's still hot and peel it off. There you go. You see how nice and bright and colorful that is. It's also very easy. What did we just do that in 12 seconds? Which is really, really cool, simple, and efficient. And all of your cleanup is right here. Is a piece of paper that you take and you get to throw it away. Okay, so there's our front right chest piece. Okay, so this is the hoodie that we just printed. As you can see, this is the front right chest that we just finished. This is super, super awesome because it's very, very easy to wear. I actually really like this hoodie. As you can see, we also printed the side piece, which looks really nice and different than what you usually see. And then this is the back area. It's nice and
I wanted to talk to you guys about how we've had to adapt to this new normal. As COVID has sort of taken over the United States and with these stay-at-home orders, it's had a huge impact on our business, and we've sort of had to shift our business model within the last couple months. So what we did was we decided to design some newer products tailored for this time. So a lot of our customers are staying at home and they aren't able to go to these music festivals where we were, supposed to be. We had over, I think, 18 festivals that were ready to go, and we were gearing up as spring hit. And then all of a sudden, all of them are canceled. So, where that may have really torn apart other businesses, I'm really proud of how Misha and I had handled this situation in the sense that we just we went with the flow. So we actually designed some new face masks, bandana face masks, and some new tapestries. We knew that our customers were going to be staying home, and to brighten up those walls and bring a smile to their face, we were like, what can we do, right? What can we do with our art that would be a product that they would be excited if we released? So we dropped some new face masks in March, and then we created some new tapestry designs for April, and both of those were huge hits, right? So I guess what I'm sort of conveying to you all is that just because, our festivals and our in-person sales, were not going to happen anymore, we really had to shift and change our view of that, right? So we had to shift to be more of an online company. And, that's something that I think was scary, definitely scary at first, but we're learning a lot as we go, and we're trying to market our to our people, our following, which we have an amazing Evol family that always supports us. We have tons of repeat customers that have been with us for years since we started, and it's been an amazing journey. So I think that's just one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can offer is just when things are tough, you have to adapt. You can't give up, and you have to find something that will continue to help you grow. And I think we're going to just keep doing that as we go. I wanted to show you my Montessori and multilingual shop on Etsy. I just wanted to walk you guys through it and kind of talk a little bit about how I've had to shift some of my design time lately. As some of you have probably also found yourselves spending more time at home now with a little bit of extra time with COVID hitting, I decided to put some of my time towards starting a second business. So even though I'm still designing for Evol and definitely partnering with my husband on that front, I've sort of split my design time to create a second business that has so far been really good. I started in the beginning of March, and basically geared towards Montessori, creating these Montessori products that are inspired by nature, as well as creating printables for multilingual families. So our family is actually trilingual. My husband speaks Russian, I speak Spanish and English. So we, with my daughter who's 2, we actually are doing the Opal approach. So one person, one language. So I speak to her just in Spanish, and he speaks to her just in Russian. And then together as a family, or if we're out in our society, in the community, we'll speak English together. So it's really been working great so far. She seems to understand all 3 languages, and I was just having a hard time finding some materials that I felt like that I could use with her, and especially finding bilingual or let alone trilingual materials at home. I was just having a really hard time. And so I was like, why don't I just make some, like I'm this designer here. Why can't I just create my own products and my own printables? Montessori, they use these things called 3-part cards. And some of them are, let me just show you some that I have designed so you can get sort of a better idea here. So here's an example, but basically I took a theme. So in this case, the plant life cycle, and used my own watercolor drawings that I did, watercolor paintings, and created these little cards. I used InDesign actually to lay them out. And basically you can match up the word with the picture. That's sort of the idea. And then there's also these description cards that have facts on them and can kind of give additional information that you can share with your child as well. And I sell these for, depending on what it is. This is actually, if I were to print these out and ship them to someone, you could get the whole set printed and delivered to your house for $15. And then if you go back to my website and search for something like this, is one of the bilingual plant life cycles that I have available in Spanish. So this would be a downloadable print. For instance, they could just instantly download it. You can print it, laminate it, and boom, it's ready to go for a little activity for you and your child at home. And it has both the English and Spanish word there. And so you're exposing your child to multiple languages, and you're able to read in your mother tongue. So in this case, if I wanted to read to her in Spanish, I could read the descriptions, and we could have a science lesson in just Spanish. Or if my husband, who actually doesn't speak too much Spanish, he could probably read the English to her and enjoy that with her as well, So it's definitely something that's been really popular. Let me go back and show you guys this. So on Etsy, it shows you kind of like how many people have something in their cart. So 3 people have that Spanish one in their cart. As you can see, a lot of people have my printables kind of ready and waiting in their cart to purchase. A lot of times on Etsy, people are waiting for a little bit of a price drop or a sale or like a spring deal, something like that. So it's just, 10 people have this bilingual printable. I believe this is the Russian one. So, again, it's finding something that is popular, that can resonate well with your target market. And in these times, guess what? Many parents, almost all parents, are finding themselves having to be the teachers for their children at home, right? We're starting to see now this shift to homeschooling, and all the schools are doing e-learning. And the schools that are able to send materials home for their kids, or to download them, that's great and all, but there's a lot of these younger kids who don't have access to e-learning, and their parents need something for these preschool age kids that isn't just like a worksheet packet to do, And so these printables are a really good resource for teachers who need to give materials out to their kids, and also to parents who are finding themselves now as teachers for their kids and homeschooling. So that's a little bit about the printables that I do. Let me show you another popular one that I did recently. These are a set of backyard birds. So my daughter and I, we sit at breakfast a lot, and we'll look out the window because we have a bird feeder. And we would see robins come up to the bird feeder, and a couple cardinals. And then when we were walking in the forest preserve, we saw a blue jay, and it was just amazing, the bright blue on the feathers. And I was just struck by the beauty of it all. And so I sat down, I started painting some watercolors, and I came up with this, sort of packet that this bundle that they could download and print at home. This is a bilingual one in Russian and English. But basically, I used my illustrations and my drawings and my paintings to create this blue jay anatomy chart. There's an American robin anatomy chart, as well as a cardinal. And it has the label in English and in Russian. So they're bilingual. And then you can cut out and sort of match the words as well as you're working with your toddler or your young child. And then another thing I want to talk about too is that a lot of the nice thing about learning languages is it doesn't have to just be for a young child. I had this one customer who mentioned to me that her sister-in-law is actually visiting from Ukraine, and that she doesn't speak a lot of English. And so she wants to learn some things in English that she can talk to with her family. And guess what? All of a sudden now my principles can be used to teach English. She knows the Russian words. She speaks Russian. She's a native speaker, but now she's learning the English word for that as well. So it was a really nice thing to hear from one of my customers that, they could be used with bilingual language learners as well, not just young kids. So that's something that I liked. Other than that, one of the popular things, the reason probably why I started this whole Etsy shop a couple months ago, I created these bilingual sensory counting tablets, and it went crazy. Like, it went viral. I mean, people on Facebook were going berserk in my Montessori groups. It was amazing to see. I got so many bloggers reaching out to me, wanting to feature me, and it was just absolutely amazing. So I just created with these wooden tablets. You put this with pipe cleaner, you just do the numbers, and I hot glued it to the wooden tablets. And then I took my label printer and I printed the name of the number, so 1, and then in Spanish, uno. And I just put like an abacus style with beads on the side so that my little one could physically count with them. And then I use seashells, but other people, if they have other things, they could also, again, this is sort of like, it could be a DIY project that, people at home want to do. But I have sold already about 3 of these sets. It's a little bit of a higher price tag. It's $24 for 1 through 5, or $34 for 1 through 10. And so this is what you would get delivered sort of in the mail. You could pop it in a box or a basket like this and display it to your little one. And then here's sort of what me and my daughter were doing and practicing. And she's just 2, right? So these are, things you could use with the little ones. Of course, supervised. I don't like any of my materials to be left alone with them, especially with little beads and things that could be potential choking hazards, so I always tell parents, make sure you're, using them supervised with your little one. But yeah, that was definitely a popular product that I've been selling recently as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about my Etsy shop. Again, go check it out if you're interested, or share it please with any parents or families that have little ones at home. I have English printables available. I have 4 so far. I'm going to continue adding more. And then Spanish printables. So these are the ones that have Spanish and English. They're bilingual. And then I have Russian printables, as well as 1 Polish. I just started offering Polish recently. So I'm going to be adding new languages. I'm going to be working with my dad, actually, who has his own translation company, and he has lots of connects with translators. He's been doing translations for, I think, over 30 years now. So definitely an amazing resource that I'm using with my father. And he's just been so great in helping me with developing these contacts for people, for translators that can help me continue to grow my business. So that's a little bit about what my Montessori and multilingual shop is. Go check it out. Thanks. I wanted to touch a little bit on my goals as an artist and just sort of reveal a little bit how they've evolved over time. So, I was really looking for, I've always been searching for a way to merge my passions and my talents. I think, as an educator and as a teacher, I spent about 8 years, the past 8 years, um, just really loving teaching kids, teaching middle school. And I didn't want to give that up entirely. But I also wanted to stay home with our daughter, who is 2 years old now. So I was looking for a way that I could merge sort of my love of education, but also my passion for art. I've been designing with Evol for the last 5 years now, and I love it. I absolutely love creating art and watercolor paintings and doing digital art and illustrations. So I knew that there was, if there was a way that I could merge all of those, that would be ideal, right? So when I came upon this Montessori and multilingual idea, I really was excited about it, and I still am. And I think that there's a lot that I can do with it. And the thing for me is that I wanted something where I could do more than just make pretty art. I wanted something that was meaningful and had a purpose. And so, what I love about this new endeavor of mine is that it's true to my goals as an artist. Yes, I am doing watercolor paintings, but I'm doing them to create 3-part cards to teach my daughter and to teach other people's children through printables in my Etsy shop. So it's really sort of an amazing opportunity. And, even if it's as simple as making somebody smile, whether I'm doing a tapestry design for Evol or I am creating, bird illustrations for my daughter and other people's children, I really am staying true to my goals as an artist. And that is something that I am really proud of. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's talk on art and entrepreneurship. I hope you saw how to sort of think about adapting to this new normal. I know that all of us are struggling with COVID-19, and I want you guys to know that we are here for you. We are trying to create art and continue with our lives as best we can. And I hope you'll join us on this journey. Please like us and share if you like this video. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I go by by erikalasette.art, and my Facebook group is The Art of Erika Lasette. Also like and share us at Evol Chicago, and check out our website, evolcollective.com. Thanks so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. I look forward to all your questions and comments. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.